started saying, look, Scott, fear is causing everybody to be confused. So you got to teach people to get out of fear. And that way they'll get out of the fight or flight because they can't even think correctly when they're in the fight or flight. You know, the psychological aspects of it. Oh, it was funny. I said, well, we're going to use that today then.
Ready for more food for the soul. Okay, so we are live, and I'm going to start the report now. And no, I just did something.
It says live.
No, hold on. I just made a mistake. Okay, now we're good. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm sorry about that delay this morning. I'm your host and researcher, Louisa, and it is Thursday, July 30th, 2020. This is GoldFish Report number 537. And yeah, I have my headset on. And we are back with another episode of Food for the Soul, which is everybody's favorite report, I know, with our favorite returning friend of the GoldFish Report, our friend Dr. Scott Werner. Thanks for being with us, Scott.
Oh, you know, it's always my pleasure. I'm so happy that we're able to help people understand what's actually going on. And today we're going to tell you, pay attention and notice how, you know, everything has swayed us away from God, which is truth, to the other side, which is chaos, which is untruth. You know, we don't want to be in chaos. We want to be in the coherence of organized, beautiful creation, which is what God is God is love. You know, First John in the New Testament talks about it and says just God is love. And let me tell you, love heals everything. Fear is the absence of love. So you can't know the truth when you're in fear. And, you know, I woke up this morning, was talking with Vicki, and Vicki's like, you know, all the studies have been done that show when you are in fear, you really can't detect or use your mind to know the truth. And you can't even ask what the truth is, because when you're in fear, you're too busy trying to find a way out of the fear. And it's been amazing to me. Even the movies on TV are all horror flicks. And the media is knowing that keeping us in fear is keeping us under their control.
Well, and you know, this is what our report is about today. And the report is titled, In God We Trust, because really that's all we can do. One of the reasons Scott wanted to do this title today, as you know, Scott is a wellness coach. And people are very confused. I'm telling you, we saw that bar testimony yesterday, and they were actually CNN, it was reported that CNN, I didn't see this particular clip, but they were editing it to make it look like he wouldn't and refused to answer questions. So let me tell you, folks, it is, when you say it's Satan's domain, he was master of deception, and they're still here. They're still trying to deceive each and every one of us. And the question is, how do we discern? How do we discern? If you're somebody just watching TV and you just trust the news, you just trust what you're seeing, how on earth do people discern? Because these people are, you know, you have to realize they're pathological liars, so they can lie so incredibly well that we don't detect it. And it's, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, it's a weakness of humans, but, you know, we're generally good souls, good beings. We want to believe in the goodness of people.
Yes.
So, but we have a problem with really looking and finding the snake oil salesman and behind that smile, behind that charm, behind that, you know, and of course, behind trusted names like, you know, the Pope, or even, you know, CNN, which, you know, is a communist news network now. So I don't know, Scott, you're here to talk about this. You've got your message, so we can't wait to hear what you have to say about this.
Well, I love how you started out because, you know, truthfully, if you watch that Bill Barr They wanted to bring him in to get information. Then when he starts telling them the truth, they go, no, I got to reclaim my time. You're taking up my time. And it's like they ask him a question and they don't even allow him to answer. And it's a show of the distrust the Democrats have for even listening to anybody who is associated with the government right now. It's amazing to me how the scenario of the Democrats is just continual confusion of the facts. They don't want to know the facts. And they demonstrate that totally with Bill Barr, because Bill Barr was ready to answer questions, and they'd ask him a question and then they'd retract their time and they wouldn't even allow him to say anything. It was the most amazing demonstration of what's happening right now. It's like the hydroxychloroquine.
Ooh.
You know, I've done my own studies on this, and the COVID, the actual COVID, the virus has DNA from several other viruses, the MARS, the MERS, the Zika, and the worst of all, the Ebola. And what's interesting is they're finding that hydroxychloroquine reverses the problems that the Ebola virus presents in there. And they found the people in Africa who are taking hydroxychloroquine for malaria, it actually protects them against the Ebola, which, you know, you don't hear about. But I've researched and they found that the ones who are not compliant and have the malaria, they're the ones that die of the Ebola and have the horrible problems. The 50% that are taking hydroxychloroquine are protected. And so the same thing occurs with this COVID virus. And so don't be afraid of hydroxychloroquine. Now, I use quinine, which is hydroxyquinolone. And that's the natural herbal remedy for malaria. And it's been used for hundreds of years. You know, they used gin and tonic to help treat malaria.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. What about tonic? There's quinine in tonic water.
Yes, yeah.
It tastes bitter. It tastes bitter, but I mean, how much of that do you have to drink to give yourself a prophylactic immunotherapy response?
Well, they have tonic sugar-free now. And so you're supposed to drink about at least 8 ounces to get the effect twice a day. And so, you know, it's a lot of sugar, and sugar suppresses the immune system. So I suggest to people either use the hydroxyquinolone extract or, you know, drink the sugar-free. I mean, there's bad things in the sugar-free stuff too, but they found the sugar's just as bad now because it's, you know, all of us are prone to be getting diabetes. And so the truth is we need to stay out of fear. And let me tell you, watching TV right now is putting people into fear. Oh, yeah. Everything on there is designed to confuse your mind, to upset you, and put you in fight or flight. And they have found in scientific study after scientific study, if you're in fight or flight, your eyes dilate, your breathing gets shallow, and you just want to run away. You don't want to use your mind to contemplate the truth. You just want to get out of there. And yet you're mesmerized by that dang TV, and you sit there and you watch more and more of the fear. Now, the fear base doesn't allow you to think logically. And they found that the mind can't even communicate properly when you're in fear. And so number one, quit watching TV and watch truth producing energy. Because right now on TV, we're being projected what they want us to believe, and they want us to believe we're doomed, basically. You know, they want us to see all the riots. They want us to see all of the bad things that are happening, and causes fear. And this has been going on for years in the media, and they've studied it, and they found they have more mind control when they put us into fear. And that mind control is very powerful. And now you top that with the 5G coming out. They've actually found, I've got a lady who went into the AT&T store, and she asked, you know, they said they have a big sign out, 5G is here now. And she says, well, where are the transmitters? Oh, we're sorry, we can't tell you where those are because it's secret. We can't give that information out. And she was so surprised.
Jeez.
You know, but they're not even letting us know where they're putting the transmitters, and they're camouflaging them because they've had people going out and taking them down. You know,
they're burning them. They're burning them. They're destroying them. Absolutely. I have something.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I had a video clip I wanted to show everybody about this topic we're talking about, if you don't mind, Scott.
Oh, I love it.
I showed it to you.
I promised this lady I would answer this on the show today.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Well, I just wanted to. Okay. State of Ohio, believe it or not, has banned the use of hydroxychloroquine for COVID. How can that happen? It's in the news. It's happening. Unthinkable, right? You have Donald Trump Jr., who was banned on Twitter because he retweeted the video of these doctors who were standing outside of, what was it, the Supreme Court or Capitol Hill, and they were talking about there's a cure for COVID, that it's hydroxychloroquine, zinc, and azithromycin. Nobody has to die. Nobody has to die. They're suppressing the cures, folks. Do you understand that? They're suppressing the cures. Now, it's not a secret that the president made it known that he himself was taking hydroxychloroquine, and someone made it into a meme. Let's take a look at this. No, don't have that ready. Hang on.
It's okay. Let me just make the statement.
Go ahead.
That the AMA has even come out, and they did a study, and they presented it in the New England Journal of Medicine, which is the standard, you know, the golden standard for the AMA, and saying that, oh, it's no better than doing nothing. Well, placebo, doing nothing, is a lot better than doing some of the things they're doing. And but they found that the vitamin C, zinc, azithromycin with the hydroxychloroquine, 0% of the people are dying. And they even came out with a statistic yesterday that the death rate is down 90.2%, which brings it down less than 0.01, which means it's so much less than the regular flu. And yet everybody is so fearful about this damn thing. They're wearing masks, and they found masks actually decrease oxygenation, increasing the morbidity and mortality from this damn thing. So the masks are totally wrong.
And it accumulates schmutz in the mask.
Yeah.
And the schmutz.
Schmutz is bad stuff.
It is, especially when it, if it's in the mask. Can you imagine all the schmutz you're accumulating in your lungs? It's terrible stuff.
I haven't heard that word for so long. I love that word. You're getting schmutz in your mask. And schmutz is actually germs, fungus, your own stuff, and you're rebreathing it back into your body. And so it's not good for you. Schmutz is not good for you.
No, it's not good for you. And the problem is that, I wear a mask for within 5 minutes, it's not good because I had like, no, Scott, you helped me. I had pneumonia like twice last year. I kept getting it. And actually almost 3 times the bronchitis. It didn't go all the way. It was like terrible. So like my lungs were like not in good shape. And immediately I put that mask on, and just within 10 minutes, I'm like, I can already feel the schmutz building up in my lungs, which is not good. But I wanted to give everyone a little, this is a meme that someone put together, a little video clip. Yeah, I'm going to get a copyright strike on it, but it's fun, and I wanted to share it with you.
Oh, I'd love to see it.
I hope you can hear it.
Oh, we can hear it. Good.
A lot of good things have come out about the hydroxy. A lot of good things have come out. And you'd be surprised at how many people are taking it, especially the frontline workers, before you catch it. The frontline workers, many are taking it. I happen to be taking it.
Hydroxychloroquine?
I'm taking it, hydroxychloroquine. Right now, yeah. A couple of weeks ago, I started taking it. Because I think it's good. I've heard a lot of good stories. And if it's not good, I'll tell you right. I'm not going to get hurt by it. It's been around for 40 years for malaria, for lupus, for other things. I take it. Frontline workers take it. A lot of doctors take it. Excuse me. A lot of doctors take it. I take it.
And who can say love grows as your heart
This was a Trump ad. Actually, you can see Trump 2020, but it was, look at him. I mean, like he's unstoppable, this man. A little plug for our president today. But it's very true. I mean, so he's admitted to taking it. He told the press jumped on him. They're trying to make him sound like he's nuts by taking this. And I'm telling you, the spin, I hope people are getting both sides of the story. If they're watching social media, they probably are. If they're only watching television, they're absolutely likely not, unless they're watching Tucker or possibly Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham. That's all that's really kind of worth listening to on the television at all whatsoever. But it's tough. I mean, I think the first problem is people have to recognize that there has been an infiltration, a Marxist infiltration in our country. Once you accept that, then you can start to discern much better. You can start, because it's just creating confusion. People, as you said, Scott, people are watching television and they're getting mixed messages, or they're at least getting, even the wrong message is still mixed, because people know inside something's not right. It's not resonating. And the reason they did this to Attorney General Barr yesterday was because of what Jim Jordan did the previous day when, who was testifying? No, Pompeo was testifying today. This was Barr. So Jim Jordan played the scenes of all the media, different clips saying peaceful protest, peaceful protest, peaceful protest during the Senate hearing. And then showing all the images of all the destruction and all the bombs and all the fires and all the, because they're doing what Kelly McEnany's doing, putting up the screens in the front of the mainstream media where they cannot turn their head and look the other way. Yet still Fox News broke away from that because they didn't want to show the people the truth. But, of course, Nadler said that it didn't meet the protocol for submitting video evidence, and he objected to its use, although it had already aired. So even though they knew he was going to object to it, they did get to air it, and they made that point, and it really made them look like a bunch of buffoons, which they are. So
they are.
So they know that they need to seize those opportunities. All right, the House, who's Democrat controlled, wants to embarrass the government or embarrass people. You want to grill them and like you said, get information from them. It works both ways. It's an opportunity for both sides. So I have to say the president's playing his cards really well, because they're trying their hardest to get this information across to the people. Now, even a meme like that's the president, actually, his face was from the video. And it was him speaking, because I saw that press conference, and it was his voice and it was him speaking, even though it's a meme. But that will travel and get much further, in terms of going viral than the press conference will. The memes, those video memes, won't be censored as much when you have Anya playing in the background. So as the actual press conference clips will. So thankfully, we do have an administration that is trying desperately to help us receive that truthful information so we can discern. But it's very confusing, though, Scott, when he comes out and spends all this time talking about vaccines.
Yes.
And the reason that troubles people is obvious. It's such a hugely disputed subject right now. But I think that even Dr. Judy Mikovits said she wasn't against vaccines. It was intended to be an immunotherapy. The problem is everything else they're putting in it is not immunotherapy. That's the problem. And this latest vaccine that Bill Gates wants to push on everybody actually will change our DNA. And I mean, it will alter our DNA. We will not be the humans that we were born as. It's very dangerous, folks, and we need to be very, very careful. But the president was also focusing on vaccines and other therapeutics. So I have a feeling, I don't know, I'm not reading tea leaves here, but I have a feeling that this trip to Kodak is going to be making this pharmaceutical company not simply just vaccines that are natural, really immunotherapy vaccines, but you're going to see a push for hydroxychloroquine to be sold over the counter. You watch. And I have a feeling that everybody should be taking this. As that doctor said, nobody should be missing school. Nobody should be missing work. Nobody should be dying from this. And that's the whole point. It's very hard, but as the title of our report is In God We Trust. And the whole problem is when you see these riots on the street, people are going away from God. And one of the things you said to me, which I thought was kind of striking, was how similar the term St. Louis was from Satanists. It's almost as if, anything that's godly is being desecrated. It's being inverted. It's being, and that's what Satan does. I mean, they warned us in the Bible.
Yeah. They invert it, and they use it to mind control us by making evil look good and good look evil. And even Christ talked about how in the last days that they would bring this about, the destruction of godly thoughts to bring in evil thoughts and make evil look good. And that's what they're starting to do, even having the pedophilia be a part of the LGBT, whatever the acronym is now, of all
Right.
these different sexual orientations. They're trying to make normalize pedophilia. And Jesus taught that it'd be better you had a noose put around your neck and thrown down into the ocean and died than to commit crimes against children. And, it's amazing. Now, Saint Germain did give us a way to protect our DNA by manifesting perfected 24 strands of DNA. Now, this concept, I know I've presented it on the Goldfish before, but people forget about it. Even my wife, I said to her this morning, we had our discussion because I had this nightmare about her turning over into the Satanist. And we had this conversation. She says, okay, well, let's go do it together. So she came out with me and we read through the 24 strand DNA manifestation. And we did the decrees for protection and safety, which is a prayer and a decree that we ask for the protection of the angels, for the ascended masters, or the divine beings who were created by God, case 17, the God warriors, to come in and surround us and watch over us, our homes, businesses, cars. And let me tell you, this stuff works. And anybody who tells you it doesn't, they've not done it. And, I've been amazed what Saint Germain has brought forth to assist us. And you can get these at my website, the Divine Invocation or 24 strand DNA manifestation is still available as a free download on my website, scottwerner.org. And if you want the decrees for putting my world in divine order, which protects you, that's just send us an email and we'll send you a copy of it. And there's also holographic images of the archangel and different protecting holographic images that we can send to you also. So just let us know if you want these things, and we'd be glad to shoot you an email with them. You need photographic paper and a color copier because they don't work as well with black and white printing. They're made to be holographic images that bring the energy in of protection.
I'm looking
and
for
they
mine.
do this.
I'm looking
What's
for
that?
this. I'm looking for this set that you sent me, and I have my desk covered in files and papers right now. So
I tell you,
I might have, no, they're downstairs. I've actually put them by
this
the bed.
this is Uriel right
Oh,
here,
it's nice that you have them
Archangel Uriel,
laminated.
and this is Archangel Jophiel, which is just gorgeous. These energies come through these, and this is the beauty of God and the protection from God. And then Archangel Zaphkiel is the Archangel of compassion and ecstasy, which is an interesting combination. But this one was the one I stepped on, and it just started burning my feet with so much energy. I knew I needed this. And the other interesting thing I just wanted to show real quickly is the lady who helped me keep my left foot. I got hit by a directed energy weapon, and it literally dephased my foot.
Yeah.
And she got me water from Fatima, Portugal, and the other place in Lourdes, France, sent it to me. I started putting it on my foot, and it brought it back perfect. Wow. And so I've still got my left foot thanks to this lady, and I talked to her yesterday. So I thanked her a lot.
I just found them. I had put them on my it's like the place you put your keypad on your desk. It pulls out. I don't use my keypad there, but I put certain things there I want to protect, and that's where they were. So they're right next to me. I wanted to protect them though. I didn't want them to just be shoved in piles because I have to tell you, I mean, anyone that harms children, I have to tell you, it is so sacred. That's such a sacred, it's a sacred gift from God. And to me, there's really no, what's the word I'm looking for? There's really no way to, there's no justice you can ever
There's no excuse for abusing children.
Well, there's no justice. I don't feel like there can ever be any appropriate or egalitarian type of they're
innocent.
Yeah, it's sacred. It's sacred. I mean, can anything at all be sacred anymore? Yeah. I mean, sacred is something that you just don't do. You just don't do. But I mean, short of lightning bolts coming down, striking you as soon as you do it, it's not really going to stop people. They don't. I do like to believe in cosmic justice, one way or the other, karma, whatever you want to call it. But I think we like to see things. We like that instant gratification. We want, and I hate to say it. I mean, that's why they built the Colosseum. That's why they built those Colosseums with those. They want to see the bad guy get eaten by the lion. I mean, something in us that just feels like we want to see justice. Now, they may have done it for entertainment purposes, which is totally different. But of course, the powers that be probably did that for that purpose. But someone who tortures a baby,
for the
I don't know. I
adrenochrome.
might want to see him get eaten by a lion. I don't know. It might make me feel better. I mean, it's terrible to say that, but it's like there can be no justice for something like that, can there, Scott? I don't know. Only God really knows the answer to that, I guess.
Well, thank God we're not the judge,
Right.
and we're not supposed to judge people, but we do need to seek truth because we will be judged
Yeah.
according to the truth we live by.
Ooh.
And these Satanists, they are living with a untruth and using it for power, money, and corruption.
Mhm.
And they want control of the planet. And
Yeah.
the cabal, the Satanists are the ones who are creating this fear. And they planned this pandemic for over 20 years. And they knew exactly how to use the MK Ultra, the mind control of the CIA, and they used those agencies to further their plans. And what we need to know is that we need to free ourselves from the fear by bringing love into our bodies. And the only way to do this is shut off the TV and go within in prayer, contemplation, and meditation, and using the energy of love to clear our minds. Now, once you go into fear, it takes 30 minutes to 6 hours, depending on your mental capacity, to remove the fear. And the media knows this, and that's why they hit us with all this stuff constantly, because they want to keep us in fear, constant fear.
Right.
But we need to calm our minds, calm our souls, and bring the organization and love of God into us. And how we do that is we literally have to close our eyes to the outside world and relax our body and start breathing in the breath of God. Now, what is the breath of God? The breath of God is what gave us life. And by allowing that breath of God to come into us, just breathe in the breath of God, the love of God, and let it hold it for at least 10 seconds. A lot of us have lung problems. We can't hold it very long, and you will cough. Now, when you're coughing, it's a sign you're expelling negative energies. Even virus or bacteria, you're expelling it from your lungs. So if you cough when you're doing this deep breathing, it's a good thing because you're expelling negative energies. And so breathe in deep, do at least 3 deep breaths. Those of you who don't know how to meditate, just start out doing 3 breaths, because the law of 3 allows that energy to incorporate into your body, and it calms your system down. It brings peace. You can make better judgment when you're not emotionally charged. And by putting higher vibration emotions like love, peace, joy, happiness, compassion into your body, you can know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And the truth is, they're taking our sovereignty, which is they're taking our consent and doing awful things. And we are implicitly giving consent, or unconsciously, passively giving our consent. And the evil has to have our consent. And so we've got to stop saying evil's okay. We need to take back our sovereignty and know that God is, and we are the gods. And we don't give our consent for evil. Right now, they've made evil look good and good look evil. They've even taken prayer out of the government, out of schools, because they've made it look evil. And prayer is connection to the God. You know, the Almighty I am that I am, Heavenly Father. However you look at God, you know, Ganesh or you know, there's many different languages and God has many names. But we call upon the God of our Father because that God is the God of the one, of the entire earth, the entire universe. Oh, as we understand these things, we bring peace to our soul. We're able to think more clearly and make our connection to God, and that brings the truth to us. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Well, one other thing, since we're on this message, this real biblical message here, is didn't Jesus also tell us that we'll know them by their fruit? So if
Oh,
you
yeah.
ever feel, confused or unsure, look at their fruit. What have they produced?
Yes.
What have they produced? That's all you need to know. What have they produced? Um,
And Trump's
because,
been revealing that with
right,
people.
yeah,
He's allowing them to show themselves who they truly are. And you saw how the Democrats were yesterday with Bill Barr. It's like, my heaven's sake, they don't want to know the truth. They
yeah,
want to keep everybody in fear. They
right.
want to keep the riots going. They want to keep the COVID going. They want everything
Hmm.
to not be in
Hmm.
order, in organization. And
Yeah.
God is organized. So by their fruits ye shall know them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so here's a recent QAnon post, which is pretty accurate here. It's a meme, but Q posted, in reality, they're not after me, they're after you. I'm in the way.
Yep.
I'm just in the way. That's, you know, like a meme from President Trump. And, I'm sure he said this sometime at some place somewhere. This is see people, an informed, free-thinking public awake is their greatest fear. So that's very consistent with what you just said, with how they wanted to shut down the truth at the hearings. They wanted the hearings because they have to have the hearings, but in reality, they're fake anyway because they shut down the truth. And boy, did they not like it! I was watching that press conference when Kelly McEnany was showing those the video of the violence in Portland, and which the media doesn't ask about all the people who have been killed. In fact, this one um, black fellow who was a big Trump supporter who would stand on the street and hold up these pro-Trump signs was murdered.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I
they
mean,
don't
it
tell you
just doesn't
about
even.
that.
No, they're not going to tell you about that.
And
And
that's how evil these people are.
truly,
They don't want anything
mm,
that is truth even
right,
being said, and they're willing to
yeah,
kill other human
yeah,
beings for it.
yeah.
It's the most
Mm.
ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Oops, sorry.
You're
Go
back
ahead.
on.
Yeah, no, my my headset is hurting my ear. My glasses are on, and I have to get a new pair of headsets because they're hurting my ear.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah.
it's they press up against my ear, and of course I wear glasses, so anything that presses the ear,
Puts more
I
pressure on that
yeah.
appendage of the
So
glass.
I'm gonna get hopefully a new microphone or something, so I don't have to wear the headset anymore. And then the hair starts sticking out, and then viewers actually start commenting, "Oh, can't you brush your hair or something?" It's like you have no idea how I struggle with this headset. I don't
It's
have straight
tough.
hair. I don't have straight hair. It's never gonna behave. It's just the way it is. It's curly hair. I try to straighten it and it misbehaves. So anyway, yeah. So um so this is good, Scott, because I think this is helping people figure this out. I think that it was very, very good that you said that. They, clarified that that's exactly what was happening at these Senate hearings. They did not. They shut down the truth, and you could see they're shutting down the truth. And in a sense, it almost looked too scripted. It almost looked. Sometimes these things look too perfect. In my
Oh,
from my view, the thing is, are people getting it? Is everybody else getting that, Scott?
Yeah, even them saying, "Oh, I got to reclaim my time," that was scripted totally, because every damn one of them said it. And it was like, come on, folks, this is a joke. You guys planned this whole thing. It was a setup. Bill Barr shouldn't have even gone, because, but I'm glad he showed. But, you could see he was frustrated because they weren't allowed. They'd ask him a question, then he wasn't even allowed to answer. It was just crazy.
Yeah, but when he could answer, they tried to he wouldn't. You can't trip him up. I mean, he beat them at their own game. He's very, very smart. He's a very good person in that position. He's the perfect person in that position at this time.
Yes.
And he really handled them like a master, though, I have to say. Even though
Yes.
they, and he knew this was going to happen. And you know what I've learned? I've learned from watching Kelly McEnany what a great mom she is. I think she's an amazing mom because she does know how to handle children.
And a lot of these reporters are children. They've been basically told to repeat whatever they're saying. And, they always ask the stupidest questions. They don't even want to know the truth.
No, completely irrelevant. I mean, Kelly brings up the point that,
The
there were
question
how
you
many
should
people
have
were killed.
asked.
Yeah, how many people were killed this weekend in Chicago, and not one of you had a question about it. Things like that. I mean, so I can see it, but she says it in such a way with such command, and it's not even threatening. She kind of, and there's a meme about her holding Jim Acosta as a baby, like in her arms, and she's going to be such a great mom. She has a newborn, beautiful little girl, and or a few months old, I should say, and she knows how to handle children, because they are absolute children. They are very self-centered, self-absorbed, egocentric, you name it. That's how that's how they come across, because of course their job is to follow a narrative. When I was there reporting at the White House, it was funny because when there was a press gaggle and there was like someone like Secretary Stephen Mnuchin coming down to go into the driveway to go into the West Wing to meet with the president, all the cameras would be set up outside to kind of catch anybody coming in and out of the West Wing that was meeting with the president. So I was going out there as well, and I would have my little tripod set up with my iPad and my iPhone, and I was live streaming, and they were all laughing at me. I didn't care, but they were all taking. You could see them all on their phones. They were all on their phones. Okay, Mnuchin's coming, and then all their producers would send them the questions, the specific questions. Like none of them came from their own, source. Like they were all looking at their phones, and I'm just, my phone's in use live streaming. So here I am. I've got to shoot from the hip, and so I played it low. I kept a low profile initially, so I learned the ropes. That's what you have to do. Learn the ropes. Don't cause any waves. They immediately wanted to know who I was, but then, of course, when they figured it out and they saw some reports, then they started blocking me. So they would get their cameras in front of me and do this and this and that. So they're doing everything they can to, because they would take the cuts and they would take the clips and they would edit them. Of course, mine was, and I didn't have a good microphone or anything. So it was a good first try. I mean, I do look forward to going back to the White House in the next term. I probably won't be going back before the election, or at least before until all this gets settled down. But what do you think's going to happen? After the election, we know there's no question that Trump is going to, and I don't want to make this political, but this is what we're facing. And we are trying to help everybody make sense of everything, right, Scott, of what's happening, because it's so confusing. But if you look at the fruit, look at President Trump's fruit, look at the list of hundreds of accomplishments this man has created just from being in office 3 years, right? 3.5 years. And much of what he had to do was reverse the damage that previous administrations did regarding outsourcing all of our jobs and outsourcing our industry, outsourcing vital and important supplies that we need, like during emergencies. Like, why should we have to
Mhm.
depend on another country for prescriptions when we could be making them all, or we should be, I thought we were making them all here in the United States. So the question is, why do we have to have China make little pieces to go into our military equipment? Like, you don't think they're spying? So,
Right.
it's crazy. And the mighty dollar, this is what happens. This is the total weakness of capitalism, right? When you don't have a conscience. It has to be capitalism with a conscience, because if you just go, if you don't, if the bottom line is all you actually care about, you will destroy the society. There has to be a point in which enough profits enough, and it's enough to give you as good of a life as you can, and several generations thereafter. Isn't that enough? And at the expense of the whole country, selling out the country, right? So what I'm saying is that I don't I don't think there should be a limit on what people can make, but I'm saying that clearly we have to address this imbalance in the society. It is far, far too imbalanced, and um, we have to show some sort of, like, if, for instance, earlier this week, the president passed 4 executive orders regarding prescription drug prices, particularly for life-saving medicines like
Insulin and
insulin and
epinephrine.
epinephrine. And so why should people have to choose between food, or choose between paying the electric bill in a heat wave and buying life-saving medication? Nobody should be in that position, and the president completely agrees with that. So look at the president by his fruit, judge him by his fruit, and do the same with the Democrats. I mean, judge them by their fruit. If we're going to export all of our um, emergency supplies, or needed supplies, or necessary, and what is the word I'm looking for? It's like critical
Necessary
critical
medical
supplies.
critical
Yeah.
supplies. Yes.
Exactly. If we're going to outsource all that, if we're going to outsource all of our jobs and tech jobs, and then just import with HB1 visas, we're not investing in our own people, and we're not investing in our own country in order to make our country better. So the previous administrations tried to destroy that by sending everything overseas and importing people who were not Americans to take the jobs. And quite honestly, that's how you destroy a society. So we were infiltrated. You have to understand that, and you have to, that's why it's playing out the way it is, Scott. Exactly what you said. So, for those who aren't watching social media, this is, hopefully they're really seeing what's going on. But again, if you're not sure what you're seeing, ask, what fruit do they bear? What have they done? And
Kind
that's,
of what kind of tree
yeah.
are they growing, and is it bearing any fruit? And what you see from what happened, they literally made the United States into the military power, but
Yeah.
we didn't have any manufacturing power anymore, because they sent it all to the slave labor to produce in China.
Mhm.
And, people don't realize this, but Walmart was a front. And, it was a front for bringing very inexpensive slave labor products
Yeah.
that weren't very good here into the United States. But they also had child trafficking. They had the law where the family could only have one child. And so they would literally sell their second and third children and they would bring them in these crates into the slave trafficking of children. And the Walmart, those big Walmart, what do they call those big
super centers?
Well, not just the super centers, but the ships would bring these huge shipments, and they'd have the containers, and there were children in those containers. They were bringing over to the United States for use in the child trafficking and slave trade.
Oh, now I just noticed our internet start going in and out as soon as Scott starts talking about this.
Oh my!
Are you still there, Scott?
I'm here, and yeah, I'm here.
Interesting.
But I'm sorry, I'm just bringing out the truth. But
Right.
not only Walmart, but some of these other big corporations.
Well,
And it was
like Wayfair.
all, yeah, Wayfair, which was owned by Hillary. And they all became billionaires from this. You don't hear about, the billions the Clintons got, and they got billions through the cocaine trade, which, I mean, selling drugs for monies to do covert operations was huge during the George H. Bush, the Clinton administration, George W.'s, and Obama's.
Yeah. Well, again, I just keep repeating. I mean, a lot of things were hidden, but a lot of things are coming out now. And as you're saying, we're seeing this. I think we're getting very close to a Durham report being released. And I think that there has been, I think it's very interesting. We have to pay very close attention to the kind of reports that are being published and are being released and when they're being released. Because I think traditionally the Justice Department doesn't release reports prior to an election or within 60 days or some time frame before an election. But I think this goes under I think this Durham investigation goes under like a contractor type of, or I think it has some other a capacity that is exempt from that rule. We'll see. We'll see. But I do think that, as Barr said, that they won't rule out, releasing certain reports before the election. There's going to be an October surprise. You just know it. You have to know it.
Yeah, I'm praying for lots of good information, truth to come out prior to the election so people can really see who the good guy is and who the bad guys are. Because it's a combination of information. And right now, they're just feeding the minds, especially of the young people. They're trying to kill off all the old people that vote for Trump.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
And with this COVID thing, that's why they're putting it in the rest homes and all the different places. But the young people are being brainwashed the most, and they've been in the school system with the UEA. The education is literally teaching socialism, socialist agendas, and even the global warming. We've all fed into this global warming thing. And the truth of the matter is the sun is what affects the warmth of the earth, and we go through cycles. We're just happen to be in a hotter cycle right now.
Scott, you just said something that I don't think everybody really, I don't know if everyone heard this. They're killing off the old people who would have voted for Trump. That means they're literally killing Trump supporters.
Oh, absolutely. The ones who voted him in were the generation of the baby boomers and the greatest generation, which was the one that fought in World War II. They were the biggest Trump supporters because they knew the truth. They wanted to keep our country free. And they could see the evil that happened during the Obama administration. And, Obama, he wanted change, and yet nothing changed. He had the same dynamics, the same thing, continued the Bush agenda, and literally took our freedoms away, even more of our freedoms. And we became a poor country under Obama. We almost became a third world country with a bunch of billionaires.
Well, we some cities pretty much resemble that, like, Nancy Pelosi's district. Again, look at her fruit. What fruit? She's been a lifelong, and Biden, lifelong bureaucrats. And,
yes.
And what have they done? What's the fruit? The fruit is feces signs, human feces signs walking around San Francisco. Beware of human feces. People actually have jobs where they make money picking up human feces. I mean, folks, this is disgusting. Shame on people in San Francisco for not stepping up. Shame on this liberal, this crazy. It's like a train wreck. It's just a train wreck.
Yeah.
There's no, the problem is when you demoralize a nation, which is what they did. When you demoralize a nation, they are confused and they have lost their identity collectively. And that's really what's happened. We've lost our identity because we've allowed the Trojan horse of identity politics to divide us. That's why.
I saw the rate of homeless people go up so huge during the Obama years. We travel to different places in the world, and the amount of homeless areas increased during the Obama administration more than I've ever seen in my entire life. And even down in the OC, Orange County, which is one of the richest counties in the world,
Sure.
there was more homeless people than I had seen at the end of the Obama years.
Wow.
And it would have gotten worse under Clinton.
Whoa. Well, let me tell you what a report this is today. And I'm just curious to see what Canada already started. I'm not quite sure what they're talking about. Okay. So, yeah, someone's saying Walmart's usually located on top of DUMBs. And there's a reason why several of them had closed. Some people are saying that it has to do with the tectonic plates. Now, why would Walmart go ahead and build on top of tectonic plates that they know would be moving? They would want to put their businesses in a more as far away from tectonic plates as possible. But apparently, a lot of the population live above tectonic plates, and as you know, there's a lot of tectonic activity. We just had a 7.9 earthquake in Alaska. That's huge. And there is science to show that it does transfer in a certain direction and it does go down. The Juan de Fuca, I believe, and then it goes across the United States and then up the East Coast. So it's coming, and there's going to be more calamities, and we are going to have to learn to help one another. There's going to be more that's going to come, and I'm not trying to fearmonger, but if this is a test for our souls, and if we haven't learned the lesson yet, then be prepared for more tests.
Now, the reason I say go within and meditate is through our calmness, through our meditation and our peacefulness, we can actually cause peace to come to the tectonic plates. In other words, the humans, when we are out of alignment with nature, out of alignment with the earth will hiccup and cause an earthquake. Whereas when we're in congruence or in alignment with peace and harmony, we can actually harmonize with the earth with love and calm the storms, calm the earthquakes, calm the planet.
Yeah.
The whole reason the planet hasn't gone through the ascension is so many humans were in a state of fear, disbelief, and not in alignment with nature and the angels, the archangels, all of the beings of the elements, that we caused a lot of these catastrophes by our misalignment with peace and justice and love. And so the answer is we need to become more peaceful for the world to become peaceful. If I want to change the world, I've got to change myself. If I want the world to get better, I must be better. And so start meditating, start loving, start sending love out into nature, out to other people, and asking them to wake up to the truth. because that's how we're going to change the world. You know, a lot of us think it's going to be politics, but no, it's going to be going within and meditating and creating the peace, because we are creating our reality. We can't create it when we're in fear. We're allowing others who have another agenda to create reality. And so we need to calm ourselves down, become more peaceful, more loving, more organized, like God is. And the organization will stabilize the planet.
Scott, if we can go back for just a minute to what you were talking about earlier, I think a lot of people would want to know about this. We were talking about hydroxychloroquine, and you mentioned hydroxyquinolone extract.
Yes,
Where can people find that? Do you have that in your store?
we do. And I have to, dampen it down a little bit because it's pretty nasty. Like you said, it's bitter. Quinine is bitter. And it's the extract, and it kills acne, believe it or not, because you can dab it on your face and it'll kill, the bad bugs that cause acne, which are parasites and
Mm.
bad bacteria. Which I should just send you. Didn't I send you some?
I haven't gotten it yet.
Oh,
I'm
so
not
I
sure.
better get that in the mail. So anyway, hydroxyquinolone is the herbal extract. Then the scientists, the biochemists, they add a chloride anion, which chloride is a something chemically that has a negative charge, and they add it to the hydroxyquinolone, and it becomes hydroquinolone. And it is very powerful,
Hmm.
killing malaria, which is parasites,
Hmm.
and stabilizing the blood cells, because a lot of the problem that we're experiencing with all the chemicals in our environment is we're calcifying, even stones in our kidneys, our liver and
I
pancreas,
know, so bad.
gallbladder.
Hmm.
And by taking hydroxyquinolone, they found you actually produce less stones because it decalcifies everything.
Okay,
And
wait, where can people order this, Scott? Just what's the website? Is there a website?
well,
Where can
go
they
to
order?
your store and buy quinine tonic water.
Okay,
You
but where can
know,
they get, where do they order this? Is it
the
your website?
hydroxyquinolone,
Your website?
it's, the FDA kind of banned it for internal use. And so you can't actually buy the extract very easily. And you have to be careful as an herbalist because, the FDA will show up and confiscate it. But what I would recommend is go and buy tonic water.
Yeah.
Buy the sugar-free one. Don't buy the stuff with, high fructose corn syrup.
Right. It's hard to find
Because,
sugar-free. Trust me. I've been drinking tonic water, and I mix it with different things so that I could get it down. But it's
yes,
it's not the best tasting thing, but it's not the worst either. I mean, if you have something, I usually mix it with like a cranberry juice or uh, some fruit juice of some kind. But it's yeah, most of the time they sell it with that high fructose corn syrup, and the Pellegrino brand I have found doesn't have that in it. I don't know what they're using, but it's not high fructose corn syrup. But if you just go into a regular supermarket, 9 times out of 10, you're going to find it only with high fructose corn syrup. So it is
yes,
good to know if people do know of brands or places that you can go to get alternatives. I suppose Whole Foods would probably have it, but now that it's Amazon owned, I don't know what they're going to have. But it's
yeah.
possible. It's possible they may have it Whole Foods. But I can tell you that Pellegrino brand does make the tonic water. It's the one I've been drinking. So it's
And Pellegrino's a good brand.
and I have
So
to tell you, I feel really if I start, I just was taking it prophylactically, just in a preventative measure.
Yeah.
So
You know how gin
yeah,
and tonic became very popular in the British Empire
yeah,
because they were all out in, Africa and India and all
uh,
these exotic places where malaria was very common. And they found by drinking a gin and tonic each
yeah.
night, not only would they calm down their system, but it would protect them against the various viruses and malaria. And,
So isn't
go
it
ahead.
isn't it the alcohol is necessary because the gin opens up, what is it that it opens up the blood-brain barrier or something? What does it do, Scott?
Yes.
Why do you
Yeah.
need to have the gin with the tonic water? What's the interaction there?
Well, one of the most famous studies was done with gin and tonic. And the gin, the alcohol actually does. It opens up the blood-brain barrier. The alcohol just, boom, that's why everybody gets hit in the brain with the alcohol. And it carries the quinine or
Yeah.
the hydroxyquinolone into the brain. So it protects the brain, believe it or not. Now, the one problem with alcohol is you don't want too much. And that's the problem a lot of people do. They think a little bit's good, more is better. But the more alcohol doesn't make
Mhm.
it better, it actually causes problems. But a mild gin and
Makes
tonic
sense. Mm.
is they found alcohol kills COVID in your throat and mouth.
Whoa.
And
Somebody's asking a question about wormwood, Scott, and I know, Scott, this is the perfect question for you. He says, do you know if the wormwood people from Africa talk about deterring CV? Is it the same wormwood on this continent?
sweet wormwood is the one that comes from Madagascar. And the prime minister of Madagascar said, we're going to save the world with our sweet wormwood, because sweet wormwood combats the COVID. And so, just taking wormwood will protect you not only from this, but wormwood kills parasites. Now, believe it or not, when we go into fear vibrates in the vibration of parasites. And
Yeah.
so when you go into fear, you invite parasites and your body can't fight them because you're in fear and your immune system gets suppressed. And fear is the frequency of parasite.
Yeah.
And so it invites them into your body and you get parasite infections much easier with the fear that is being created. And so the treatment for parasites, wormwood.
Right. That's in your protocol for a parasite cleanse, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
wormwood, cloves, and black walnut. And let me tell you,
That's some bitter stuff. That's some
it's
damn
all
bitter.
bitter, but Hulda Clark found that you can cure cancers
Hmm.
getting rid of the parasites and fungus in your body.
Yeah.
And wormwood actually is a powerful antifungal as well as antiparasitic. And so you're not hurting yourself, but I would take a couple of days off. So take it for 10 days, go off for 5 days, take it for 10 days, go off for 5 days. That's what I'm having a lot of people do right now. And it's a preventative for the COVID too.
Wow. Look, if anyone has questions, you just contact Dr. Werner here because he's going to help you make sense of all of this. Yes, he's talking about sweet wormwood from Madagascar. Yes. He says, does our native wormwood have the same chemical constituents?
Our 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 wormwood is actually a little bit more toxic, the Artemisia that we have here in the United States, but it has the same effects. They
Okay.
call it sweet wormwood because it's not as bitter as our common wormwood. But the common wormwood can be used also.
Mhm.
When this COVID first came out, I tried to buy some parasite cleanses, and literally the shelves, it was gone. All the wormwood was gone, and the lady loved me
Wow.
so much. She said, "Scott, as soon as we get our next batch, I'll send you
Yeah.
a bunch of it," and she
Yeah.
did. And I love this lady because she got into the business because she did Hulda Clark's parasite cleanse which is the worm with the black walnut and cloves,
Right.
and cured her stage 4 breast cancer doing the parasite cleansing and detoxing and antivirals.
Right.
And I met her 26 years, no, it's been longer than that now, probably 28 years ago, in 92, and started buying my products through her because she had the best. She bought the highest grade wormwood, the highest grade cloves, the highest grade black walnut, because it had cured her cancer. And she wanted others to have the highest quality products. And that's why I buy my stuff through her.
Yeah. But Scott, you have your own experience and testimony to this, which we've talked about a long time ago on the GoldFish Report, but we haven't talked about it recently, was your own treatment of a condition that you had that you were treating yourself with the parasite cleanses and these products as well. Let me just ask another question regarding let's see, what is this? So we're talking about how does it make you feel when you see those doctors up on Capitol Hill yesterday risking their lives, and you know that they're risking their lives, you know that they're risking being kicked off the boards, their license being, you've been through it. So I mean, they had took a lot of courage for them to do that, but they were right. I mean, she was absolutely emphatic about the fact that there are cures for this. We don't need to wear masks. We don't need to be doing this. So I'm really glad. And of course, that was scrubbed from social media very quickly. You and so you have these other alternatives as well. But why do they recommend also what is it about this COVID? It's a SARS-like COVID. Why is it that you also need to have the antibiotic? The
Well,
azithromycin.
because they've actually put what they call atypical bacteria in there. And zithromycin is a treatment for atypical bacteria. Now,
Right.
atypical bacteria, they call it atypical because it's not like other bacteria
Right.
that can live out in the serum.
Mhm.
They actually have to get into the cell to replicate, just like viruses. And the reason they put this atypical bacteria in
Right.
is it's mycoplasma, and mycoplasma has an enzyme that it can break into the lung tissue
Mm.
and infect in the blood of the human and animals for that matter.
Mm.
And so they put the DNA of this atypical mycoplasma into the COVID to help it enter into the lungs, because our body has pretty good immune system to keep things out. But boy, I tell you, you put these enzymes that these atypical bacteria have, and they'll penetrate in and get it into your bloodstream. That's why the people die, is it gets into their blood. Now, that's the malaria drug too,
Okay.
is it helps with blood infections. Like malaria is a parasite that gets into our blood, and you have the fever and chills. When it replicates, it breaks open the blood cells, and then you get your fever because they come out and they start infecting other cells, and that's when you go into the fevers of the malaria. And so the hydroxyquinolone stabilizes your blood cells and helps kill those parasites within your blood cells and keeps you from having the disease, helps keep it from propagating until your immune system catches up and kills it.
Why?
So,
So this doctor said that hiccups was actually one of the symptoms of COVID, and that's not being reported. And when she treated this patient with COVID that had hiccups, she was cured, of course. Um, so, so there's a lot of different symptoms. I think one that was most alarming was the embolisms and how this was, why this was forming in the elderly population if
yeah,
that's what was killing them. I mean, if you get rolled over by a steamroller, they're going to say you died of COVID. So, it's kind of ridiculous. You can't really trust these statistics at all. But we
no,
do know that people with COVID were being put into nursing homes, especially in New York State, and they died there. And they
yep.
infected everybody else who was there. And I
That's where
believe,
a lot of these deaths came from.
50% of the deaths, I believe, were the elderly. So yes, they were trying to kill the Trump supporters, it looks like, the elderly baby boomers. That's going to be a big deal. We're going to be talking about that a little bit more in some future reports.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
and I know we've made this observation before in the GoldFish Report where we talked about how, you know, the idea was to kill off the elderly, which was part of the UN Agenda 2030 plan. So, you know, it's not new to us, but the idea that it's convenient that most of them were Trump supporters were, you know, or most likely to vote for Trump. Now that, you know, just paints a whole other level of evil on this.
Oh, absolutely. You
Yeah.
know, that, and even what they're doing with the media, they're trying to suppress everything
Oh.
that's telling the truth.
Mhm.
And they're suppressing it so they can control the scenario. I mean, even today, you know, they're saying, oh, Biden's 20 points on the latest survey above Trump, which is total bullshit. I mean, they're manipulating statistics, they're manipulating surveys, they're making us think that Biden's going to be the next president, and yet they're not allowing the process, you know, to have us freely vote for who we truly believe in. And it's like wearing a mask. You know, they
Right.
know that humans succumb to pressure, peer pressure. And the peer pressure of these surveys is like, oh, Trump's going to lose anyway, might as well vote for Biden because we're a bunch of sheeples. And we've got to stop and look at what's happening and stop feeding into their scenario that
Yeah.
takes away our freedoms. It's going to make us a socialist nation
Yep.
full of homeless people. Because, you know, when you have no money, you can't help the homeless.
Yeah.
When you have money, you can hand out 20 bucks to these people or 40 bucks. But, you know, if they make us all poor and all of us are controlled and socialized,
Mhm.
we won't have the ability to create. We give up our sovereignty. We give up our creative abilities to make money, to make innovation, to bring humanity forward. And it's actually going to stop the progression of the planet. And so, trust me, we want something and somebody who wants us to be free and innovative. It's not about capitalism or socialism, it's about abundance and prosperity. If you want abundance, there's only one person that's going to help make you abundant. Well, not one, there's many of us. But what I'm saying is, leadership wise, we need our sovereignty and freedom.
Mhm.
And all the executive orders that have gone out have brought back our sovereignty and our self-expression, our creative nature. So let me tell you, that's what this is all about. If you want to be suppressed, communist, adulterated, child molesters, vote for the socialists, because that's who they are and who you will become by following.
Wow, that's a great way to end this program. Except, you know, that we really need to have a blessing because I think, Scott, believe me, I think we started out, we ended up in a much better place than when we started out because I think that the whole idea was to help discern the truth because good is camouflaged as evil, evil is camouflaged as good, and people are very, very confused. We've been demoralized, so we've had that Trojan horse of identity politics, you know, bursting down our doors, down our throats, in our homes, in our schools, in our lives, in our doctor's offices, everywhere else. So it's like, you know, and at the end of the day, you just know them by their fruit. That's really
Yep.
the best way to do it because it's
Yes.
absolutely the only way. You know, we really can't tell because they're such good, thorough liars that there's no possible way to really know the truth other than you need to see what fruit they bear. And
Yes.
pretty much it. So Scott, saying that, remember, in God we trust, folks. Go to the Bible and just remember what it says. I know not all of it is, some of it has been adulterated, but I think the most important parts that we need for our time right now have been preserved. We know that Jesus said this. We know that, Jesus told us we'll know them by their fruit. It's that simple, folks. And it's really that simple. If you're, and like I said last week, just write, pros and cons down a piece of paper. And if you have trouble deciding, if you list the pros of the candidate or person or situation, whatever, then write the cons. And you have to be honest with yourself. That's the thing. And like you said,
Yeah.
that's where it starts with each person, each one of us. So could you give us a blessing on our way out, Scott, unless you have any final messages you'd like to leave with our viewers before we go?
Well, the final message is, do you want freedom or do you want to be controlled? And a lot of us, it's sad, but we've quit believing in freedom because freedom is not free. Freedom takes effort. And so just know that we need to be out there projecting love. We can't say it anymore because we'll be disconnected from our media and everything else, and people
Yep.
won't trust us. But if we send love and ask them to wake up to the truth, they'll feel it coming within themselves and they will start waking up. And that's what we need to do, is go into meditation, pray, project telepathically. Believe me, you're being controlled by more than just telepathic messages. We're getting it with electronic control now. And so with the 5G coming, it's more important than ever to go within and meditate. So let's give you all a blessing.
Someone said, we'll just love them to death.
Exactly. Love them into life, into waking up.
Right. Exactly.
That's our wordage. And that's the other thing. Be careful what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because our words are things. So
Spelling.
be positive, be
They cast
happy.
spells.
Yes.
They cast spells. Oh, don't we need to always remember that? We should actually make one of those bracelets, Words
are things.
Words are spells. Words are
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for joining us. Scott's going to lead us out with a blessing, as he usually does, and we're always so grateful for you, Scott.
Thank you. God bless America. In the name of the Almighty, I am that I am, and in the name of all the ascended masters, the beings of light, and in the name of Jesus Christ, we bless each and every one of you, all the Jews and Gentiles, all the people from all the many nations who came to America to be free and abundant and happy. We bless you with that abundance, happiness, joy, and ecstasy. We bless you that your minds will be calm, that you will become peaceful and happy, that you will project love out to all the people around you, filling their fear with love, which will dispel their fear and remove it from them. We bless you that you will be powerful in meditation and prayer, that this will bring about peace and plenty and prosperity for all our nation, that the evil will be dispelled, that all of the pedophilia, all of the things that are going on that are wrong, being done against innocent life, will be removed from our planet, removed from our nation, removed from our soul. We bless that humanity will become one with God and become organized and abundant and beautiful again. We will all bring God back into our lives and the lives of all those who have rejected the truth. We bless you that you will be filled with the truth of God, and that will create your freedom, create your sovereignty, create your beauty within you. We seal these blessings upon you and do it in the name of the Almighty. I am that I am, the creator of the universe. Woo!
Well, thank you, Scott.
God bless you guys.
So it is, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much, Scott, for your wisdom. We absolutely love you. You have to love this man, folks. I've never met a more genuine person in my life. I'll tell you, he is the real deal. He is the most genuine person I've ever met. And I just don't say things like that unless I really, truly believe it and feel it in my own soul. So I just so appreciate you, and of course your amazing counterpart, your wife Vicki, who joins us sometimes, who's also another amazing human being, a wonderful woman, a true steel magnolia, and we do hope she comes back and joins us.
She'll be back.
Soon.
She'll be back.
Good. Tell her we missed her today.
Yeah, and I've got to put in a little plug for Rob Potter. He's doing his thing up in Mount Shasta. You can go to his website, something revealed. Is it thetruthrevealed.com? And anyway, he's doing a great thing, and I'm giving the opening talk on Wednesday morning up there in Mount Shasta. It's going to be wonderful. Go to his website. I think it's the Truth Revealed.
It's the Promise. It's the Promise Revealed.
The PromiseRevealed.com.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. Very good.
Thank you for correcting me.
No, I want to make sure people can go see you if they want to see you. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's going to be a great conference. There's going to be a lot of truth slayers there.
All right.
And it's going to be really fun. I'm just really excited that I got invited and that I'm the opening speaker, because I'm going to set the tone for the whole conference. And Rob wanted me to give this opening talk, and so I thank him for having this, and thank you, Louisa. And people, support Louisa. She is needing donations to keep the GoldFish Report on air. So please send a couple of dollars. The world's still working. We're not in the reset yet. So we're not all a bunch of rich people yet, but we will be, because the truth will set you free and make you have abundance. So just know, but right now we need some abundance going towards Louisa.
Well, I appreciate that, Scott, because as you know, because of the kinds of things that I report on, we have been demonetized, even though we had never monetized before. We tried to, and of course they demonetized us right away. So it makes it harder and harder to keep the GoldFish Report going and keep bringing you these kinds of reports. I also want to just let everybody know that we have a special report on Saturday night. It's the first hour, as you know, we simulcast it on Ascension Radio as well. The first hour is my POTUS report, the weekend edition. And the second hour is going to be again with a really special woman who is running for Congress in the 21st District of Florida. Her name is Reba Sherrill. I've had her on the GoldFish Report earlier this week. You can go check out her interview. If you know anyone who lives in the Palm Beach County area and is in District 21, please contact her at rebaforcongress.com, because she could use some help with her campaign. She's one of the Republican candidates there, and she's an amazing woman, and you really would want to have someone like her up at bat for you in Congress, as opposed to these lifelong bureaucrats who have no fruit, who produce no or little fruit. So give her a chance. Let her go and serve us in Congress. Not only is she serving the 21st District, but whatever committee she goes on, she's serving all of us, as everyone in Congress eventually does, regardless of, depending on their committee. She's running in the House of Representatives, and I urge everybody to please give your support to her if you live in that area. And if you don't, call your friends who live there and ask them to give their support too. So we will be in the second hour. We will have her come and join us and answer your questions if you like as well. On Sunday, we're going to be doing a special Uniting the Light roundtable with some special guests. We have Gail of Gaia, who will be joining us, and of course Drake from Cosmic Voice. So we're going to have a very special Sunday morning that nobody's going to want to miss. You have to come and you have to listen to this, because we have been we haven't done our Uniting Shining the Light roundtables in a long time. And it's time to show the whole community that it's time to unite again and not let, people divide it. The ones who are awake and aware, the QAnon people, the awake people, people who are not Qers, whatever, we can't be divided because that's their goal. So we have to show that we're coming together. And I've done that consistently on the GoldFish Report, to bring other YouTubers and other people with other channels and platforms onto the GoldFish Report to show unity, because that's what will keep us strong. Scott, I just want to thank you so much, because by you joining us as well, we're showing unity. We have to stick together, folks, or we're going to be divided and conquered. And that will, this is really, if people only really understood how important this time is right now, if you really understand what's happening and what the stakes are, we are really at a crossroad at this very moment. We are in our second American Revolution right now. It's the quiet revolution, sort of. It's not so quiet, but it's not necessarily declared. That's what I mean by the silent revolution. But make no mistake, we are at war with the enemy which is the evil forces that are on this planet that wish to destroy the United States. And when the United States falls, trust me, the rest of the world's going, folks, because we were the only beacon of the world. And if we don't hold on to this, if we don't fight for this, as you said, Scott, freedom's not free. Not only will we lose it, but it will be the undoing for the rest of the globe. So, or Earth for the flat earthers. I'll be politically correct there. So everybody, you have a great afternoon. We'll see you Saturday and Sunday, I hope. And Scott, thank you so much. It's always so enlightening, such a pleasure, so wonderful to be with you, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. God bless each and every one of you.
Thanks, everyone. And this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.